Chapter 14. Paths to be chosen. Merlara shuddered and collapsed. Aaron jerked away from her, pawing at his face as if he'd been stung. Merlara lay still, unable to move or speak. She was dimly aware of galloping hoofs, shouts, snarls, and someone crying out in fear. She knew the voice, but couldn't remember who it belonged to. She tried to remember if she was a human or a dragon, which didn't make sense, since she hadn't forgotten her name, but couldn't remember if it was a human name or not. She felt someone lift her up. Tyor and Seldrian's faces came into view. She opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came from her. Someone gave Seldrian a bowl, who gave it to Tyor. Merlara felt the bowl against her lips. It took almost all her strength to swallow. Suddenly her mind was clear, and she remembered she was human. She sat up abruptly, knocking the bowl from Tyor's hand. Tyor gripped her arms. "Merlara, are you hurt?" Merlara stared at him stupidly. She looked at the bowl, lying on the ground where it had fallen. She was surprised to see clear liquid running out of it. "What did you give me?" "We have only water," Seldrian said. It seemed effective enough. "Really?" Merlara asked, attempting to make light of the situation. "From the effect it had on me, I would have thought it was wine." She looked around, embarrassed to see everyone staring at her. The Tok'wai looked at her suspiciously, but the Caja, Seldrian, and Biolans looked concerned, though somewhat shaken. The eagles had scattered, and were just beginning to gather again. Ladiel, Tyor, Nahim, Kahira, Sumaisai, and her brothers stood over them, their faces showing both fear and relief. "What happened?" Nahim asked. "We thought for a moment you were dead." "I thought they were both dead," Sumaisai said grimly. Merlara looked at her. "Both?" She struggled to her feet, Tyor supporting her. She turned to see Aaron crouched on the ground several feet away from her, his teeth bared in a snarl. Aelist knelt at his side, one wing draped over him. She looked at Merlara, her eyes boring into her. "It seems you have discovered one of your gifts, Your Majesty." "What do you mean?" Aaron felt you in his mind. "You have the ability to experience the thoughts and feelings of a dragon, simply with a touch of your hand." A murmur ran through the crowd, but Merlara hardly noticed. "What caused me to faint didn't feel like a thought. It felt more like a vision. But whether it belonged to me or Aaron, I don't know." "It was I," Aaron said with an effort. He stood up slowly, shaking off Aelist's wing impatiently. "You have not only shared my thoughts and feelings, but experienced one of my gifts as well." He spread his wings slightly, his eyes flaming. "Like Prince Celstius, and King Orga before us, Merlara and I have seen what is to come." But it wasn't completely clear. He stood still for a moment, his eyes passing over Merlara and the people gathered around her. His gaze lingered on Seldrian. "We saw many people we know. You should be aware, Chief Amazua, that your daughter was one of them." Amazua looked stunned. Liseo put her hands over her mouth, her expression full of fear. Seldrian stared at Aaron, her face mirroring her parents' astonishment. "She wasn't the only one. We saw ourselves, and beside us my sister Aelist, Lady Kahira, and Chief Tyor. We saw also Vasiri, Kunesk, Lestri, and Sumaisai. All at the head of a massive army. The field over which we marched is known to me and my sister, as it is located in Callagan. It is called Luingal, or honor in the Tyorien tongue. We have seen the greatest army in history, greater even than Telemivi. Caja and Tok'wai side by side. Biolans, Callagans, and Tyrians marching as one. We saw my kin guarding them from above, others from the ground. As we reached the center of the field, King Orga himself came forward, ready to lead us into battle. Murmurs of astonishment rippled through the crowd. Some, such as the Silj and Biolans, looked elated, while others, particularly the Kasia and Tokwai, looked more skeptical of Aaron's words. But a great shadow passed over us. Aaron said, his voice becoming softer. The ground shook, and fear showed on every face. The shadow was not clear. I couldn't tell if it belonged to a Seldrian, or some other unknown creature. I tried to turn, to see what lay ahead, but the vision faded. Aaron's wings drooped. For the first time since she'd met him, Merlara thought he looked weary. I fear a greater threat looms over us than we first believed. It's concerning that neither the Emperor, nor Chief Ladiel or Chief Nahim, were present in the vision. We cannot linger in the wild lands any longer. Whatever is to come, we must take action to protect our hope. He turned to Kahira. Lady Kahira, you promised my king you would bring Merlara to Callagan, if she agreed to join us. Will you abide by your promise? I will, she said, speaking loudly for all to hear. I will fulfill my vow, and protect her with my life, as my sister before me. Merlara bowed to them both. Kahira went to her side, looking at her with approval. It seems to me, that this vision was in response to your decision. Whether it be for good or ill, we must tread carefully. She turned to Merlara's friends, her face grave. To all who was present in Aaron's vision, as it is with the Queen, so it is with you. You have the power to alter the future. Whether in whole or in part, none can say, but for what Aaron and the Queen have seen to come to pass, you must choose it. Merlara looked at them anxiously, wondering how they would react. Sumaisai and her brothers looked at each other doubtfully. Conflicting emotions passed over Salsoa's face. She looked at Alist and Aaron, intense longing in her eyes. Then she looked at her parents, her face filled with doubt. Merlara felt a pang of guilt. Salsoa had a chance to play a role neither she nor her tribe had anticipated. But to leave her people to go on a journey from which she might never return, was no small matter. Especially as Aaron's vision seemed to imply their destruction, rather than their victory. Tyor was the first to respond. Drawing his sword, he knelt swiftly at Merlara's feet, holding it out to her lengthwise. Callagan though I am, I have served you with the same devotion I have my emperor. 3 years as my princess, 3 months as my queen. My queen you still are, and before these witnesses, I renew my vow to protect you with my life. Merlara looked at him with the dignified air due to her rank, carefully concealing the real effect Tyor's words had on her. As was the custom of her people, she bent down and kissed the blade. As the Queen of Tyor, and before these witnesses, I accept your vow. Tyor bowed his head and stood. To Merlara's surprise, Terrell also stepped forward and knelt, drawing her sword. She held it out as Tyor did. I've never truly followed you. But as a dishonored warrior, I vow to protect you with my life, and atone for the treason of my tribe. Merlara stared at her, unsure how to react. Regaining her composure, she knelt and kissed the blade. But unlike with Tyor, she took Terrell's arms and gently lifted her up. For your sacrifice, and your devotion to the crown, I declare you an honored warrior and servant of the Queen of Tyor. May the sins of your tribe be on their own heads. A murmur ran through the crowd, astonished at Merlara's gracious response. Conflicting emotions crossed Terrell's face. She bowed her head and stepped back. Sumaisai came forward stiffly. I am bound to no one. But should my brothers swear fealty to you, I will accompany them for their sakes, and to pay the debt I owe them. Sumaisai's brothers stepped forward and bowed. "My brothers and I hereby swear fealty to you," Vasiri said, "as your guardians and companions." Now that they had consented to accompany her, Merlara realized how attached she was to Vasiri and his brothers. Sumaisai's companionship had also become of great value to her. "While I recognize the value of your offer, you have no need to swear fealty to me. I will be so bold as to confess that you have proved yourself to be my brothers and sister, in spirit if not blood. Therefore, I accept your companionship, but as family, not servants." Sumaisai's brothers looked both surprised and pleased. Even Sumaisai looked at Merlara with a new respect, and even, as she thought, with some emotion. "Though it is a great thing to have brothers such as I have," she said, "I've always longed for a sister. A sister I will gladly be to you." With a pang of guilt, Tyriel's face came to Merlara's mind. She quickly cast it aside. Tyriel wasn't her sister, and never had been. Assuming she survived, it would take years for her to mentally and emotionally recover from Tyriel's betrayal. Still, she recognized that while she had lost one sister, she had gained another. She managed to force a smile and say softly, "I accept your offer." "Sister." Sumaisai's countenance changed, though only slightly. If Merlara hadn't expected her to react, she would have missed it. Ladiel and Nahim looked at her in surprise. Ladiel opened her mouth as if to ask something, then seemed to think better of it, and remained silent. Merlara understood their reaction. Sumaisai, Ladiel, and Nahim were the only ones with her when Tyriel had said similar words, though they'd been said in mockery. Sumaisai's expression softened, as Merlara's meaning became clear to her, the declaration of closing one chapter to begin another. Sumaisai bowed her head respectfully. Merlara felt that a barrier had been removed between them. She turned to see Kahira looking at Salsoa and her parents questioningly. Salsoa appeared to be in deep thought. When she spoke, her voice was thick with emotion. "If my people have no pressing need for me to remain, I will accompany you as far as the wildlands border. What my path will be then, I'm not certain. But if you are to reach the border as soon as possible, you will need a guide who knows the terrain." Merlara nodded, relieved. If there was one thing that could set her at ease about the future, it was having someone who knew the land accompany them. Liseo looked dismayed. She glanced at her husband, clearly expecting him to object. But Amazul looked at Salsoa sadly, and gravely said, "As your father, and the chief of the Free Eagles, I give my consent for you to accompany the Queen of Tyor and her companions to Callagan." For the first time, the leader of the Beolans, a male centaur with light brown skin, and black, shoulder-length hair, stepped forward and spoke. "I, Majib, and my brothers and sisters, assure the Queen of our support. The time for us to remain hidden is over. We will do all in our power to assist your people, and if possible, lead as many as we can to Callagan, that they may join you." Nahim and Ladiel exchanged glances. Nahim looked at Majib. "If you intend to do so, then you will need a guide as well." "2 guides," Ladiel said softly. Merlara looked at them in dismay. "You won't come with us." To her surprise, Ladiel went up to her and took both her hands. "Merlara, we wish with all our hearts to go with you. But just as you have a responsibility to the whole of Tyor, Nahim and I still have a duty to our tribes. If you wish to reclaim the throne, you must go to Callagan. We are needed elsewhere." "It was always planned to pass you on to your aunt's care," Nahim said. "That is her duty and her right as your last blood relative. We have taught you all we can. Now others must lead." Merlara pursed her lips tightly together. She told herself that this doubtless accounted for their not being in the vision, though she knew it was illogical. Many things would have to happen for what she and Aaron had seen to take place, and there was no guarantee everyone she loved would survive to see it. Then I hope you will come to Callagan as soon as possible. Unless death should prevent us, we shall. But we won't do so until we bring our people with us. Do not fear Merlara, Aelist said. They will not be without protection. Aaron shall accompany you, but I shall stay here and assist wherever I can. Though I will have to move stealthily in order to protect your people as well as myself, they will have help they wouldn't have otherwise. Merlara was unable to put her gratitude into words. So be it then, Kahira said. We will go to Callagan, as soon as the proper preparations have been made. Merlara drew a deep breath, her gaze turning briefly to the north, toward the mountain pass leading to Callagan. Many leagues lay before them. Well, Sumaisai said briskly, let's hope we can all get along before reaching Callagan. Why shouldn't we? Kunisk asked. How should I know? Perhaps one of us will do something foolish and expose us all to the Seldrian, or we'll come across a hostile Kasia pack and be taken prisoner, or... Be silent, you trifling cat, Aaron said sternly. This is no laughing matter. You misunderstand my sister Aaron, Vasiri said with some amusement. She has a fiery personality. In spite of our peril, she is looking forward to this journey. Good, Kahira said coolly, I have no objection to her enthusiasm, so long as it doesn't hinder us. Sumaisai bared her teeth in a savage smile. Oh, believe me Lady Kahira, I may not be a dragon, but you will have need of my fire.